All right. Perfect. We are live. I don't know. I get. What is up, everybody? If you're joining, type in the chat and say what's up. We're gonna wait a couple minutes. Let some people get in here. I gotta make sure the audio and everything is good to go. Whoops. Okay, everything looks good on my end. That looks pretty good there. What's up, man? How you doing? Is the audio and everything okay? Give me a help me get me a good check, please. Make sure everything is going all right. And then I'll get started here in a minute. Oh. Very good. Robbie, got you loud and clear. All right, awesome. Very good. Just gonna give it probably another 2 or 3 more minutes. Gonna go over. I got 2 email submissions in, and of course, gonna answer all the questions. Oh, awesome. The chat is popping up on the screen as well. I've got that working. Cool. I am very excited. Just gonna let people pop in. I only got 2 submissions. I got a third one, but I needed some more follow-up pictures because the pictures didn't really work, and I didn't get them before today. So we'll go over the 2 that I got in there and see how all of that goes. I'll do. All right. Nancy Pop, I could really use your service in Lakeland, Florida. I wish we could expand that far already. That would be really, really cool. Unfortunately, we're not there yet, but we are working on making a line of products, and hopefully through that we will be able to give people access to the stuff that we use. That's good. The stuff that we use without being able to service out there. So that's what's really hard about this business. It's hard to scale wise, especially with increasing gas prices and keeping prices affordable. So, all right, in 1 more minute, I'll start going over the email submissions that we got and see how all that goes. What I can do is I can go ahead and kind of pop up on here. Actually, oh. You get. Perfect. That looks a lot better. This could be a little smaller. Ooh. Boop. All right, I think that looks good. All right, perfect. It's been a minute. So what we'll do is kind of go over one of the email submissions I've got. Of course, I've moved it here into a Word document, so no one has any, access to any of the information. So this is my first time doing this. I hope it works well. Anyone's advice or anything, how to make it look better or follow along better on the screen or whatever is highly recommended and appreciated, because I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm a lawn care guy trying to make it happen. So here's the first submission that we got. Hey Chad, first off, awesome job on YouTube videos. They broke down well, beginning to understand. Thank you, I appreciate that. As far as my submission, I'm struggling to understand what is going on in my lawn. I just bought this new construction home in March in St. Cloud, Florida. We have a split backyard of St. Augustine and Bahia. Disgusting. I really don't like them doing that. Having different types of turf is never a good thing. It's a pain. A lot of the herbicides that you use for Bahia, thanks Mike, I appreciate it. A lot of the herbicides that you use for St. Augustine don't transition to Bahia. So it makes it really tough to make a full lawn program over the entire lawn. So I don't really like how they're doing this new St. Augustine Bahia switch, but it is what it is. Could be something to consider when you're buying a home. Could care less about the Bahia. Yep, I agree. I tend to have it all ripped down and replaced with St. Augustine in the future. Perfect. That's what I recommend. Unfortunately, it's expensive to do when you buy a new home, and it's pretty unfortunate that you have to do that, but it is what it is. However, my backyard has been doing nothing short of a nightmare in trying to get St. Augustine under control. I've hired Massey and the intern to help until I can get and have a better understanding. But not a lot has really changed with my backyard. Front yard looks good, though. The soil test shows that the soil is absolutely terrible. What I've noticed about in the last 10 years, anything built within the last 10 years, soil sucks. It's usually used with cheap fill. I appreciate it, Robbie. It's usually used cheap fill dirt, and we've had such a hard time. All these older homes that we treat are so much easier going. Yes, they get the same pest and fungus issues, but color-wise, it is just 1,000 times easier. We put down the nutrients, the lawn picks it up, looks good, and then all we have to do is handle weeds, pests, and fungus. So, which is already hard enough here. So I've really been noticing that this fill dirt they've been using is just absolutely terrible, and it makes it for a nightmare. So our companies are struggling just as much as you, so don't feel bad when you've gotten a new home and you're struggling. A lot of other people are as well, so it's not just a you thing. The guy said you could stand and invite all your friends over to urinate all over the backyard. That's how bad it is. Wouldn't do that. I don't even think that would work very well. Maybe if you opened up a doggy shelter and had them start urinating, you'd get a little bit better results there. That's how bad it is. But I've had 2 to 3 services so far with Massey, with them putting down straight phosphorus and some micronutrients, as well as 1 aeration. I like aeration. Straight phosphorus, I'm not a fan of. I don't see the benefit there. Micronutrients are great, but especially we kind of have to diagnose the problem. Phosphorus is not really just an answer to a lawn. So I don't see why they would do just phosphorus, but I think phosphorus is a good blend to put everything together. So we'll get to the photos and see, but I don't think an answer to anyone's lawn's problem is ever straight phosphorus. I don't think that's a really good way to go about it. Micronutrients are always great, and aeration is always great. Getting oxygen to the soil is one of the most beneficial things you can do, and it's totally organic and natural. I guess unless you use liquid aeration. I had a fight with the home builder to replace some sod because absolute brownout and killed my grass on the side of the house. A lot of these houses, the drainage is a big problem. They brown out. Good luck getting anything fighting with the builder. The moving boom, especially in Florida, is huge, and the builders are building so quick they usually don't care, unfortunately. But if you're not happy with your lawn and you move into a new home, fight with the builder to get new sod as much as you possibly can. Hopefully they will help you. I do have irrigation. It's set correctly. I have also since had a fence installed that helps knock down some of the wind we have. Pretty much everything you see brown died except for the front yard. The next picture, this all rebound without dying. Of course, we'll get to the pictures in a second. Hi, Chad. Does Turf Organics have a bandwidth to perform an aeration World Golf Village this fall? We absolutely do. We have a big ride-on aerating machine, and now it's coming up the time to do aerations. We would love to do one for you. Please give us a call. We actually operate right out of World Golf Village, so I'm right down the road from you. We highly recommend it. We have a big ride-on machine. We'll take good care of you. My biggest problem, though, is the following. This is where I need your help. I was thinking of going to the store and getting a dozen or so bags of black cow and sand, as described in your Bear Area video, which is try to combat this. I also don't understand why now all of a sudden the grass working 6 inches of the house looks so thin, dry, and always looks like the mower blade is tearing the grass, but everything away from the house cuts normal. This is strange. Seems to be a type of weed or something. This is next to the house. I'm assuming it's supposed to go with the pictures. It's a little out of order because I took this out of the email because I didn't want everyone to have their email address live. So we'll see if this works well. One other note is the spots that look kind of thatchy, dry, and bare have small spots that are growing, but that have yellowish looking grass within, as well as you spoke of in your last video. Also, if this submission I'm reading is in the chat, please feel free to jump in. So I'm probably gonna have some questions for you. I really did a quick run through of this. I didn't take a good look at these. I want to do this all live. I really wish you had an office in St. Cloud. Massey is helpful, but it seems like they're just following a basic program, and things out back aren't really changing at all. Sorry this is so long, and the advice would be much appreciated. Thank you for your works. Keep them coming. The more, the merrier when you're sending in these submissions really helps. So let me ask you, actually this looks clear enough. So here's some pictures of the lawn he took. I think there's many, and I even asked for more. So let's see here. So this is the front, and he said the front wasn't in too bad a shape, and I really have to agree. The front looks pretty good for St. Augustine. Nothing too crazy there. The color's not consistent, but newer construction, so we'll see. Look, what's up, Thomas? Trying to recover my St. Augustine lawn. Has some brown spots and a hard soil in those spots. I bought some. Oh, okay. So sorry to kind of jump off mid-thing, but Thomas has a good point here. So, yeah, compacted soil is huge here. Spike shoes are not what you want, actually. Spike shoes are no bueno because there's two type of aerations. And a core aeration is what you want. And what a core aeration does is it's a hollow tube that pulls plugs out of the ground. And what your spike shoes do is they push dirt deeper. They push the dirt deeper down. So what you're doing is you're compacting it deeper. Two different types of aerations. The core loosens soil. I can't remember the name of the other one because you wouldn't do it unless you're on a golf course. Compacts the soil deeper. So the type of spike shoes you're talking about is how they would make a green actually tougher rather than loosening it. So spike shoes are no bueno. You need core aerations. You don't need to be pushing the dirt deeper down. You need to be pulling the plugs out. Absolutely aerate. There goes my $12 from Amazon. They always get you, right? I'm sorry to inform you. Maybe you can find some other good use for them, but do a core aeration and then hit it with a 20-11 or something similar to that fertilizer, 50% slow release. That doesn't have to be exactly the fertilizer, but something similar to that. So here's the backyard that we are looking at here. That's absolutely what he's talking about. Very green spots, yellowish all around, and now Massey's had 2 to 3 treatments. So you're welcome, Thomas. We know this has been fertilized here, and he's just not getting consistent results. Right away, just looking at this is a really good sign of compaction. I know a lot of people are probably looking at this and thinking their lawns look similar. So right off the bat, it's a good sign of compaction. Oh, yeah. So all this yellowing with just these green spots. Now, green spots can be, now probably in this instance, not dog urine because the way it is, dogs like to urinate in the same spots. This is probably just natural pockets of nitrogen in the soil. And this happens in new developments for the first couple of years where there's actual natural pockets of nutrients in the soil. So you'll get kind of results like this. What's the cut height and frequency? 4 inches every week. University of Florida recommends 5 days. I don't I really don't expect anybody to do that. So at least once a week, 4 inches, never lower. All year round. Not weekly, all year round. And in the winter, just as needed, but in summer, absolutely weekly. See, as we see here, this looks a little bit dry up top, and then very yellow, thin, sparse, compacted. This is a huge sign of compacted soil. Not looking good. Again, similar. Here we go, great turf around the side here. And now, what this looks like is actually sod placed after. I see a lot of people, I agree too. It doesn't look like it's growing much to cut. But this looks like newer sod, and I'm not sure without him being here. And I see this a lot. People get new developments, and their grass is bad, but they get a patio built in the back or something, and then they sod around it, and that new sod looks really good. And they go, what the heck is going on? It does look too short. It's hard to tell in person, but I can't tell if it's being cut too short or just not growing well. But that would be a really good question to ask. It's harder to tell things from photos than in person. But that is huge. Being cut too short is here. I'm here just listening. Okay, awesome, man. What is it? If you could answer, what is the cutting height on the mower? And is this picture we're looking at here, is this newer sod? Because now the sod can come compacted from the builder. I see this a lot where the sod is just total crap and it comes compacted and it never had a shot. So you go buy sod from the store, put it down, looks amazing. The rest of your sod sucks. It's just cheap builder sods. The builders buy whatever the hell they want and they put it down because you're going to probably buy the home anyways. Now, here's a picture of the roots. This is definitely what I asked to send. This is kind of a little short piece, so it doesn't tell you too much, but we're already noticing some root rot going on here. See how white this that's a long root, which is good. But see how this end tip is more white like this? Because actually what's happened is this outside sheath right in here, this outside sheath right in here has actually rotted away. And you can see there's almost no hairs. Hairs is the only things that picks up water and nutrients. This long stem is just a transportation system. Okay, now right here, there's only two things. This is extremely dry. This looks either to be burnt or just dry. It doesn't really make sense to be that dry, to be honest, because I don't see a pattern unless you have an irrigation head here and your pressure is just shot and it's just spraying to here, or it's covered or something like that, and it's not reaching this area and the rest of your lawn's getting irrigated. But this has to be burnt and then drought, or a bit of both, or one to the extreme to the other. It's the sod they initially installed. I have an Echo I used to cut the setting at 4. It's supposed to be about 4, but they had an influx in snakes, and I dropped the setting to 3. Cut shorter to try. So I can definitely tell up here. You should keep it high. I know snakes suck, and I agree. But when your lawn's struggling like this, the higher the better. And I can tell, this isn't a result of being cut at 3. This is lower than that. Once you get the lawn thick and healthy, then you can lower it. But while it's struggling, you're trying to recover it, higher the better. Let me see how I have a large patch of Virginia buttonweed and doveweed in St. Augustine lawn. Is it too late in the year to apply post-emergent? No, absolutely. You can apply post-emergent any time of the year. Anyone who tells you it's too hot in the burn doesn't know what they're doing. There's different products to use within different temperatures, and you have to follow the rates. Now, for a homeowner, it's a little more difficult, but for a professional, it's being totally lazy by saying they can't treat it. Absolutely. Buy a product called Avenue South. Follow the instruction rates, apply every 2 weeks till it's treated, and then the areas where there's doveweed, you'll probably have to sod, because that stuff is thick like a freaking carpet, man. That will choke out and destroy anything. Webication, absolutely. I would say this looks more like nitrogen burn. Probably Massey was, maybe, if you didn't add anything, Massey was trying to do the right thing and really help you out, and they put down a lot of nitrogen, and it was just a bit too much. Set it high and forget it. I cut 4 twice a week. My lawn is super thick and green. Yeah, twice a week. The more you can cut, the better. Twice a week's great. Robbie, that's really awesome, and that's amazing that you can do that. I don't expect that out of people, but That frequency is great. Oh gosh, like I said, I looked really quickly at these pictures, but there's this is definitely some burn, or your irrigation's not going. It's got to be burn or ear. The only thing I think of, you have irrigation lined up here, and the pressure's awful, but also this is probably what gets shade. So this is either bad pressure from your irrigation, which I really doubt would be would be extremely rare unless your neighborhood's having a problem or you're on a well or there's something else going on there. But I usually don't see a low pressure issue with any of my customers, or from my experience. This probably gets shaded depending where the sun goes, east to west. So I don't know the direction of the house, but that probably gets shaded, which is why it's okay. This looks to be burned, 1,000%. Massey said that the picture in the front was lack of water because the wind. It was very windy. It was not getting water there. No nitrogen has been put down. Is 4.5 too high? No, 4.5 is not too high. Not, you just have to make sure you keep it at that height. No nitrogen's put. Man, you got to check. If there's no nitrogen, now have they used a herbicide? This doesn't really look like herbicide burn, actually. Herbicide burn will give you a purple and reddish look, and I don't see that. And I do not see. Ruffles. And I don't see that. It really does look like a sign of drought, but sorry. Hold on. Yeah, chill out, dude. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. The brown pictures were before hiring Massey. Why I hired them. So this is before. Now, did you apply anything? Because this is a drought to the extreme here. This spot's so weird, man. It's got to be really windy. Side of the house has since been resodded because the builder finally helped. How long was it down for? It may not have got the proper watering when the builder first put it in. I had not applied anything. This has got to be just not enough water. From what I see, there's no other way around it. This is drought stress to the extreme. This is the weirdest drought stress spot I've seen. It's really green around here too. So kind of strange, but that's all the signs of drought. Exactly what's going on. So okay, so all the pictures. Wait, didn't you have another root picture? You did. I didn't. Clark's cleaning the sidewalk. Yeah, I find it interesting that the burn is in a straight line. Yeah, it is interesting in this line like this. See, that's what I'm thinking. But we also have the factor of the shade through the side of the house here, depending the direction. So this being shaded and this being in full, obviously it's in full sun in the picture, but I'm assuming, this side would get shaded more because of the awning here, which I see a lot. And then see, it cuts out to like over here like that. Like, what's this strip coming out here? And it moves. So this is extremely weird. And man, I know I have, hold on, some more. Well, we can get. Oh yeah, look at that. It's all the signs of drought. This is all resodded now. Now that it's resodded, how is it doing? Is it doing okay? Yeah, and this good. I see if you get your house pressure washed by a company who uses bleach, boom, you can have some burn there. Let me find your root picture here. Your other one. I believe you did send me another one. And I must have not. So I didn't really like that first one, but you sent another, if I can remember. Blades look shredded. Now, you said the blades were looking shredded up by the house. Everything up by the house seems to be okay here. Even that little brown in between, that can happen. It needs some more fertilizer and some more time to establish. It's 2 weeks after sodding, so it's in progress. Okay. Man, make sure to give it water. Here. Oh, yes. I did miss the root picture. So check this out. This is exactly what's happening to the shard. So remember how we looked at that backyard? Pale, compacted green spots everywhere. Not really looking that great. Oh, you know what? I can probably do this. We can do a little jumping back and forth. I just think you're seeing it cut differently up here because it's so much thicker, and the shade's just really helping it out. That's what I can assume from there. So where's a good one? Where's a good one? This. So now see this? You have now. Did you have any applications? Has anything been fertilized when the backyard looked like this? The grass by the house looks when you have a dull blade on your mower. If that describes anything. I think the reason you're seeing that is you probably do have a dull mower blade because I didn't see any weeds or anything in there, but I think it's just a lot thicker. And when you're cutting the rest of your lawn, it's not nearly as thick. And I think the grass right here along this strip in the shade, you can see it's shaded right now, is growing nice and thick and healthy because it doesn't have that gnarly sun factor. You have no shade in your yard. So that sun just beats on. My example to everybody is this sun here is so brutal. Imagine just laying out all day nonstop in the sun, baking the sun. Humans can't even do that, but your lawn can. And that's freaking impressive because that's a living plant. That is a living thing that can just sit there and bake all day in the sun. So it's really quite amazing it can do that. So that bit of shade in there really helps it out. Now, too much shade isn't good, but along the sides really help out. And I think that it's just so thick, it's slowing down your mower blade too. You might, I don't know what your mower is, but I see a lot of people buy the cheapest mower, which has a very small engine on it. So when you start to get thick turf, and you're trying to mow, like when you're mowing this, not a problem. It's not even growing that well. I bet, well, from when it was in this state anyways. But when you're mowing it thick, that blade slows down from that small motor, and then that's how it starts to scalp. Same thing, like when you buy a mulching mower, you can't mulch with a non-mulching mower. Yeah, Eco electric 21-inch mower. So... also don't cut wet. Yeah, it's absolutely best not to cut wet. This year it's been a nightmare with the rain, but yeah, honestly it's probably just the electric mower. That electric engine is having a tough time probably keeping up when you get to your actual thick part of your turf, especially because you're cutting it 3 inches in that area. What I recommend is raise that. So if you want to keep using electric, which is fine, and there are better brands, but raise that blade up and then mow it more frequently, at least in the areas where it's growing so it doesn't get so clogged down. Then tell me how it looks, because I think that'll be a big difference. Get a Honda. Always. When you get a small engine, get a Honda. That's what we run. Love Hondas. 200cc engine with a double blade. Yeah, see, that sucker's got some power to it, and that's going to help it mulch and not clog up. But now this backyard looks... it's responding to these roots. These roots freaking suck. And this is because of the crappy soil. So what's happening is, look at that. These back roots right in here, they're dark and rotted. There's almost no hair. See those little hairs here? Little hairs there. But on these nice long stems right here, there's no root hairs. You are not picking up the nutrients. So my example, look at this. These roots started growing, completely rotted away. Look at this long root, no hairs. Long root, barely any hairs, no hairs, no hairs. So my example, so let's say you're missing up to 70% of your roots because they're rotting and not doing well. So when you put down your product, you're putting down 100% of your product, and because of your roots, it's only picking up about 30% of it because 70% of your roots is rotted. Yeah, my grass looks very similar. This is exactly what's going on. Go Gators! Absolutely, Jason. I'm excited to see them against a real team. But this is so common in all these new areas, and it's really getting annoying. And it's here it is. The crappy sod that the developer gave you, the crappy fill dirt that they didn't care at all what they did for, and then what you're getting is probably full sun and it's having a hard time picking up moisture. And what's happening is the water, when the soil is compacted, is the water doesn't drain. It sits there, and it continues to rot these roots away. So look, now these leaf blades are folding up like they're dry. Okay, how do you have rotting roots like they're wet, but it's dry? It's because there's not enough. How do we improve the quality? Apply Command everywhere. Armada fungicide. Oh man, Armada is the best fungicide there is. Armada really wouldn't do anything. There's not really. I mean, there's a little bit of fungus there, but I think you're mainly having fungus issues because the grass is stressing so hard. Now, I see what you're saying. So, no, fungicides do not help with root rots. Okay, seriously, root rot is from a condition. It's not an actual disease, and you know what I mean? I mean, it is, but it's not cured by a fungicide. Why people get results if you use a fungicide? Because fungicides have recovery agents in them. They have an agent to help unstress the lawn. So if you apply a fungicide to a root rot, you may get some results of the lawn, but that's because your roots. Not because your roots are not rotting because of the fungicide. Moisture is going to sit. They're going to continue to rot. What needs humic products help? Absolutely. So what needs to be done here is roots. My first water bill was $400 for 16 days of irrigation. Don't have reclaimed water connected yet, so it's potable and super expensive. Builder tried to say I overwatered and caused all this. So, you can overwater. I wouldn't say you caused all of this, but you might have overwatered, which didn't help. If this is already happening, I do 2 to 3 minute spritz 2 times a day, and high heat helps a lot. Actually, publication, I'm gonna hate to tell you this, but that's really not a good thing to do because that supports shallow roots. You may give the lawn a little bit of water, but that actually causes a fungus. Dollar spot fungus is from short bits of water, and what it does is the roots get moisture at the top of the soil, so they don't dig down deeper. The best thing is to water more time in less days. Long watering cycles is absolutely what you want to do. I mean, 2 to 3 minutes probably, honestly, I think the 2 to 3 minutes doesn't do anything at all. It doesn't get deep enough in the soil. It probably has no effect. And if you're doing it midday in the sun, it actually can probably stress the lawn because the wet blades, the sun is like water droplets are like a magnifying glass to the sun. Just like on our skin, when you go to the beach, you get water on there and the sun hits it, magnifies, you burn quicker. Same thing can happen with the turf. So it's better just to water early mornings and long times. But to fix this root problem is causing everything. Everything you're seeing on top and everything that we went over besides the dry spots is from, now which is weird, they claimed you overwatered, but you had those dry spots on there. That's a little bit confusing, but everything we're seeing on top is coming from this underneath. This is what's causing everything. You could use the best freaking fertilizer in the world, and you're only going to get 30% of what you apply. No matter how much you water, no matter what you do, the lawn is just not picking up enough because of the roots. So here's the steps. I water 40 minutes once a week when we're not getting rain. I haven't really watered in a month. Yeah. I recommend 30 to 50 minutes should be your water cycle. Half an inch to a quarter to 3/4 of an inch of water is what you want to do every time. But what needs to be done here is we need to focus on the roots and we need to loosen the soil. Aeration, aeration, aeration. Core aerations. None of that liquid crap. It needs to be a nice core aeration. And when you do a core aeration, a lot of companies half-ass it. I mean, seriously, they do. They run over the lawn one time, give me your money, and I'm on to the next. BS, I hate it. That's not the way to do it. The lawn needs to be gone over several times. What you want to do is when you're core aerating, is you want to think of tilling the lawn without totally destroying the grass, because that's what we want to do. Does Turf Organics do irrigation zone tweaking? We do. We have a full irrigation division as well. Wonder if he has a pH issue as well. Yes, you said you got a pH test would be great to do, because this could be pH as well. Causing it to be too high and too low can cause catatonic states and not allow it to pick up. But thanks for your video on the thin spots and black cow. Mixture was very helpful. My thin spots are now thick and full. Great. That's perfect. I'm so glad that helped. My lawn looks like I have a soil sample and I found high salt index. Humic acid, humic acid, humic acid. Salts. For heavy salts, you need humic acids. So what you're going to want to do here is aerate the lawn. You probably want to do over this backyard. Where are we going to go back to? Over this backyard, 6 passes. The lawn's going to look like a disaster zone. That's what we want, though. You need to loosen that soil. You need to get those nasty wet plugs of dirt up on top of the soil, okay? And then while all these holes are exposed, what you're going to want to apply is humic acids, and you're going to want to do heavy potassium. So what would be really, really good after an aeration while all the holes are exposed would be like a 10-2-10, 10-6-10, something like that. More of actually a shrub fertilizer, funny enough. You want to balance the nitrogen and potassium there because the nitrogen is going to promote the growth and the potassium is going to promote the roots because you have a root problem. Now, adding all potassium can help, but then you won't get any growth or any results look-wise. That nitrogen, that even amount of nitrogen to potassium ratio is going to balance between promoting new growth and promoting new roots. And so while you have all those holes in the lawn, the roots can breathe. They're finally not choked out by all that hard soil, all that moisture sitting in there. It can breathe. So when you throw that potassium, the roots are going to start expanding and growing because they need oxygen. Fish in the water need oxygen. Roots in the soil need oxygen. So when it's compacted like that, it cuts it off. So you want to get as much growth out of this time while there's holes all through the lawn. So what I would do is heavy aeration, 6 passes over the lawn. Tear that sucker up, man. I mean, you want it looking pretty bad after. And I call this lawn surgery. It has to get worse to get better. So once you do that, get like a 10-2-10, 10-5-10, something like that. You want to balance the nitrogen and potassium, but not too high. Of course, always a slow release. Apply it over all these areas. Now, if you can get a blend with humic acid in it, that's great. But anytime you're having salt issues or anything, humic acids are amazing. Do that process. Now, what you're going to want to do is and then after that, you need to let the lawn rest. Give it water as needed. You see the lawn dry, water. If it's not drying, don't water it. If you're really particular, stay off mowing. If it's not growing and you don't need to mow, don't mow it. But don't let it get too tall where it gets too tall and you're scalping it. If it's growing uneven and there's some tall areas, break out the weed eater and weed eat the tall areas down. But avoid going over it, avoid traffic, let the lawn relax. Think of what we just did as surgery. Now, the absolute best thing you can do is top dress the whole lawn with the black cow sand mix or command. But this is where it gets, 1, very expensive, and 2, if you're doing it yourself, very labor intensive. So it's very difficult to do. But if you're able to top dress after an aeration, you're actually changing the soil composition because the soil's falling into all the holes, just like that granular. Because that granular fertilizer is not going on top anymore. Well, some of it is, but then some of it's falling into those holes, and now you have nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium releasing deep under the soil, which is going to force the roots to dive and get that food and get that moisture. You need the roots to get out of that top zone. It is what really needs to happen. These roots, they're just staying rotted there and having a hard time. Look, see, these are the perfect example. They didn't go any deeper because they found all the water they needed, and then it ended up just staying too wet, and they rotted out and died. They did absolutely nothing. So aeration, that fertilization mix, and if you can, top dress. I mean, that would be the best thing to do. At least top dress the worst areas or do it the first 1 or 2 times. Like I said, I know it's very expensive and very labor intensive, but at least the aeration and fertilization will work. Because honestly, if you're not going to do the aeration, you're wasting your time. You might as well do nothing with the lawn and just have a crap lawn. I tell people this all the time. If I came to your lawn, so check this out. If I came to your lawn and it looked like this, I would not sign you up as a customer unless you did an aeration because you would not get the results from my product. And it's not because I'm not using good product or anything like that. It's because the roots are so rotted, you won't get the results. That's what you're missing. You're wasting all that money from the watering, all that money from the fertilization. Aeration is key. Top dressing would be key if you can. So after you do this, I would do nothing for 2 months. No fertilizer, just watering, mowing when needed. Keep as much traffic off of this lawn as you can, but let it relax. Then come back. Now, coming in, if you're doing this now, which is now is a fine time. Massey aeration was a single pass and looked like he was running. Didn't see many plugs. Yep. You got freaking ripped off, man. I hate it. I see it all the time. These guys take people's money and run it. So stupid. There's no point of doing an aeration like that. If you're there to do the aeration, just do it right and get the results. Because now this is what's happening. Gosh, I hate that so much that they do that. They're selling, they're up. See, I bet you they didn't even know you needed an aeration. They just upsold you to upsell you. But in that shows they did, because they did one freaking pass. And like you said, the guy's running. Your lawn should be a freaking mess. When you're done, there should be plugs all over this lawn. It should look disgusting. Check out my aeration video. I did it on a zoysia lawn, and that freaking lawn had plugs all over. I did 6 passes over this guy's yard. And guess what? And I told him, and I charged him. I charged a backyard. It was bigger than this. But like, let's say with a hand aerator, we have a ride-on one now. But a hand aerator, I mean, someone might charge you $250, $300, and that sounds like a lot of money. But if they're going to tell you they're going to do 6 passes, freaking take it, because that's the right thing to do. These companies are so scared to charge money to do the job right. All they're trying to do is make a little bit profit, move on. Freaking disgusting. That's why. I mean, it helped a little bit, I bet, but it's not nearly what you needed. Either rent the machine yourself, which if you do, God bless you, because I've done over about 250 aerations by hand before we bought our ride-on machine, and they destroy you. So if you really want to get it done right and do it, but if you want to hire a company, which I can't recommend anybody or anything like that, but tell them to do 6. Make sure they do 6 passes. Tell them if they're not going to do 6 passes, I'm not interested in doing it. So I had Massey before. I took over myself. My aeration was the same. I couldn't even tell they did it. I see that so freaking much. I got ripped off from Massey as well. Finally lost my patience and let them go. Glad I found Chad. Wow, this is crazy. See, in between aeration and top dress, should I soft rake the dry stuff up and get the dead stuff out? Let me, where's some of your close-up pictures? Oh, I didn't add all these on here like I wanted to. Oh, where am I going? Documents. You had some closer-up pictures. So, the dead grass is not a big deal. The actual dead grass blades will decompose. Not a problem. Don't worry. These runners are what you can want to get out of there. These dead runners have a special material in them that does not allow them to decompose. Get up as much of these as you can, because that's what's going to create our thatch in the future. So if you have big... See, the problem is I don't think you have many big areas. All right, so that one. Yeah, see, these areas are pretty tight. Okay, we're going back to what I already got. Yeah, I missed some pictures. So, see, like, I wouldn't waste your time raking these areas out. They are thin and compacted, and a lot of the brown looks like dead grass, and trying to get up 1 or 2 dead runners is just going to end up doing more damage than good, because you're going to have to rip up the good runners. That's why St. Augustine's so difficult, because good and dead runners intertwine with each other, and then when you do this power rake, it does some damage. Now, if you're going to top dress the shit out of this area, hell yeah, power rake it, because those runners you pull up will get covered by the top dressing and will reattach and recover. But you got to do it thick in those areas, and it's really got to be done right. It's not a dangerous game you're playing, but you could cause a little more stress. I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but you could cause a little more stress than needed. So I would pick your battles with raking. I would rake the absolute worst and then lay the thickest soil there. That would be the absolute best thing. But I need to go back to this root picture, because that I see this just so freaking much. So rip up that lawn with that aerator. Don't be shy, and don't let any other company be shy, man. Get it done right, because that one pass, and like you said, you could barely tell they could do it. absolutely embarrassing. That's not a good way to have it be done. So after the 2 months, we'll be in, we'll be October, November. So we're coming down the cool down. I would say for your situation, depending how it's doing, I would do another like a shrub fertilizer, a 10-5-10. Just do that. One more time in November if you do this now. And if you do this in September, October, November. So do another round. Now this isn't now. You're not following a normal lawn program. Now, anyone else listening to here, this is not a recommendation for a normal lawn program. If your lawn is not struggling or having these issues, this is not something you should continue to do. He has to follow something very unique for his situation to get his lawn fixed. So once he's there, then you can go back to a normal program. But he's going to be adding a lot more fertilizer in different things because we're trying to recover this lawn and bring back these nasty roots. So in November, micronutrients, 10-5-10, humic acid. And then what I would do from December, January, February. December, January, and February. Those 3 months, potassium. I would just do heavy potassium, which is also called potash, every month. You can't overdo potassium. Here's the great thing. Potassium is not hot when it releases, and potassium is not found to be a big factor in environmental damages. This won't cause algae blooms. This won't cause red tides. Potassium, just what it does is help develop the roots and photosynthesize. Now, putting out potassium every week, you're just running off and wasting it, and we don't need to waste products and allow that into our environment. But doing potassium every month when you're having root struggle can absolutely help, because you're not going to hurt the turf. You're not going to hurt the environment. You're only going to help. Now, you're not really going to see much results. This is the underneath you're going. You're fixing the pillars of your lawn. So you won't really see much results from just potassium, but I promise you those roots are loving life and they're developing in this wintertime for when that summer comes. So let me see here. In between the aeration top dress, should I take off the dry stuff and get the dead stuff out? Oh, I think I already answered. Yep. Hi, Chad. Do you have a recommended source for gathering more details about the various St. Augustine cultivars? Hoping to be able to identify what I think I have at least 2 different cultivars in my lawn. So the problem is with that, I do have a source material that I can find. It'll be University of Florida IFAS, IFAS page, and you can type that in. There's no really way to actually look and tell. Some varieties there are, but technically from the University of Florida, that you would have to go get a test, and no one guarantees exactly the type of results. Your soil may be compacted like this, but check out UF IFAS and see if you can tell, but that's really, really difficult to do. So I have 0025 from Lesco. How much should I put down? 0025 from Lesco is awesome. I throw down 0048 every other month. See, this is what you need to be doing down here. The 0025, 0048. Potassium, you can't go wrong. Those are the building blocks to your turf. You won't see the results exactly from it, but that's what will complement. If you do 0048 consistently, I bet you can use a quarter of the amount of nitrogen than what anyone else in your neighborhood's using, and you'll get better results because your roots in your lawn are ready to pick it up, and it's gonna pay off dividends down the road. That's what people don't realize. We have potassium in all of our programs for our customers' lawns because we're trying to build the roots. We use a quarter of the illegal amount of nitrogen we're allowed to by law. 2 pounds per 1,000 square feet is the law. Well, here in North Florida, some people have blackout day. Actually, all through Florida, you're allowed to use the same amount. We just don't have blackout dates. So we use, most companies use that to the max to get the results so you're happy. But by utilizing the potassium and developing the roots, potassium doesn't just help with roots, also helps the plant photosynthesize. So by giving it the nitrogen after all that potassium, the results are a lot bigger. And you don't want to apply a lot of nitrogen because a lot of nitrogen causes thatch. Nitrogen is hot when it releases, so it stresses the lawn. And are you ready? All lawn damaging pests love high nitrogen yards. Chinch bugs love nitrogen. Sud webworms love nitrogen. So by using nitrogen, I'm not saying that's the most dangerous thing you're absolutely going to get chinch bugs, but there's a small percent in there that you are a little more likely to get chinch bugs, or when you get them, they'll feed a lot better. Because if you're using, let's say you're using a lot less nitrogen than you and your neighbor, you drop a chinch bug between the two, they're going to your neighbor's yard. They love that nitrogen, but doesn't mean you won't get them or anything like that. So I don't want to be misleading with saying, well, that you're going to have no chinch bug problems if you use less nitrogen. But there's studies that show that chinch bugs like nitrogen, and yards with less chinch bugs are somewhat less likely to get them and spread less. So Miami-Dade fertilizer blackout is until the end of October. Blackout dates are the worst laws ever. They need to lower the yearly amount of nitrogen rather than stop the certain times of the year. So what you're going to want to do is, when you're in the blackouts, is heavy iron-ites, milorganites, micronutrients, humic acids, potassiums, things like that. Then when your October time comes, give it one round of nitrogen, let it go through the winter, and then one time in spring. So, but how much should you put down? I would say you could. Let me think. You'd be okay between 3 to 5 pounds of potassium per 1,000 square feet with the 0025. 0048, I would do 2 to 3 pounds. But 3 to 5 pounds of 0025 per 1,000 would be okay. So, we'll do, 5,000 square foot lawn, you'd have to measure your lawn, which you can do on Google Earth. But let's say your lawn's 5,000 square feet. So that would be, that a really good way would be, if you have a 5,000 square foot lawn there, if you did the 5 pound rate, you'd be using 25 pounds, which is usually half a bag. They're 50 pounds. So that makes kind of simple math. Also, Sunnyland makes a good liquid potassium. I spray my lawn with mixed humic. And it looks 10 times better than when Massey did my lawn. So, absolutely, that's the benefit of liquids, is you can mix things in there like that. But a lot of people can't really do liquids because they don't have the apparatus. They miss spraying. It's a little more difficult for a homeowner. But you can find granular humic and granular potassium and things like that. We actually have those products. I'm working so hard on getting a lot of our products out into the homeowner market for you guys to buy. We have such exciting things we're working on. But it's a nightmare going through the governmental system, getting everything improved and all the checks and balances. That is one freaking nightmare. But I'm telling you what, we have some awesome products that we've been using that I would love to release, that to allow homeowners to buy, and they would freaking blow your mind. So, Supra, do you have any more? I think I gave you a pretty good rundown. And then what you're going to want to do is aerate again in the spring. Do 2 aerations a year till this is solved. Do 2 aerations a year till this is solved. Spring and fall, repeat the 10-5-10, repeat the humics, repeat the potassium, keep going. Once your lawn gets thick and healthy, do an aeration every 2 to 3 years as being proactive rather than reactive, and then follow a normal lawn program. 1 round of heavy spring fertilizer, spoon feed it through the summer, 1 more round of kind of a heavier fertilizer in the fall to get you through the rest of winter. Do you prefer liquid or granular products? So we use all liquid. It's hard to say what I prefer. I prefer liquid as I run a lawn program, as a professional, because there's really no products that I like to run. Because I'll tell you, what I do with my liquids is I kind of create my own formulas. I like to be a little mastermind. So for me, that's why I do, because I buy micronutrient packs, and then I mix those micronutrients packs with my humic acid, and then I mix my humic acid with my sea kelp, and then I mix my sea kelp with my potassium-based humic. So the formula that I'm putting out on my customer's lawn isn't one product you buy and put out. It's 4 to 5 different products that I have done my checks and balances, read my rates, and mixed them into one formula that I can apply on your lawn. But for a homeowner, I would say granular is the way to go because it's easy to apply. And you may have to maybe be annoying if you have micronutrients and you might have to fertilize the lawn twice with it. But I think granular is a lot easier for a homeowner. But I will say, granular has the biggest benefit is the slow release. Granular has a better slow release than a liquid because it's the pellets are coated, and as over time the coating dissolves and the fertilizer is released. Now there is slow release for liquids, but they're not nearly as good. So what I would recommend for problems like this, doing granular over it, use granular when you're trying to recover after an aeration because you can control that slow release a lot more, and you won't get as much product out as fast. So that's what I do. Let's see. I'm definitely be a customer if you come out with homeowner DIY products. That's really what I want to do, is I want to start selling some products. And I also want to write programs for you guys. I want you guys to be able to buy a program. I write it out exactly when and how to use it, and then that way you can just use it. And then over time, you start getting comfortable, and you can buy some of my other stuff, and then you can play and kind of create your own programs. It's really fun. That's a really fun part of it, is learning your lawn and kind of developing your own program. But it's so overwhelming from the start. So if you can start with a program that someone's let out for you in the product, you'll start learning, okay, I got this result here, I got that result there, my pH is here, my soil's low and high on this. Okay, I got a better result when I mixed, I recommended this, but my lawn did better when I did a little bit of this and that. So it becomes really, really fun. So I'm really excited for the DIY products. Granular is easier. I just love spraying, so I do both. A mix of both is great, Robbie. I love sea kelp. I use clean kelp on my lawn too. Kelp is great. Kelp really, really helps with roots as well. So potassium and sea kelp is amazing mixture together. September a good time to aerate, or when is a good fall time? I like September, end of September, because it's still hot enough to promote some growth. But it's going down on the downturn. So your lawn. So once you're doing the aeration in the heat, which is allowing it to kind of dry out, especially if you're having root rot issues and moisture issues. But then it's only getting cooler, so the recovery process is easier, but you'll get some more results out of it. So if you do too late in the year, it's still beneficial, but you don't really get to see the results. So late September, October is a great aeration time, especially in North Florida. Of course, as you get down, it gets warmer. That's a little different. I would buy products as well. Awesome. Make like an app. An app would be awesome. My gosh, that would be the dream. But we'll see. As if I keep getting support on these things and things keep going, I really enjoy doing this type of stuff. So, who else here is below the frost line? That's a beautiful thing. I am above the frost line, so we do deal with frost. Let me see, Super, did you have any other questions, man, about this? Because what I was going to do, I have one other one. It's actually about a palm tree. And then I was just going to, talk with you guys for a bit and see if anyone else had any questions or anything. So I just want to see, Super, if you had any more questions about it. Let me do a quick rundown for you one more time of what we're going to do here. And I'll kind of show the picture of what the lawn looks like. So people can get an idea of, that's not what I wanted. Let's go back to this. What is the best way to deal with parts of the lawn that have a lot of tree roots underground? It's not easy for grass to spread and roots deeply. There's no good answer to that, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of cutting out tree roots because it can damage the roots. It can damage the tree, and also if you happen to do that and we get a nice tropical storm or northeastern, your tree's going over. So either raise the soil up and then try it then, or take the tree and the roots completely out. That's pretty much the only two ways to go. But you can raise the soil. I buy merch like hats and shirts. You buy merch? Man, maybe I have to. Rocking a little Turf Organics merch. That would be cool. I didn't know if anyone would buy something like that. That's something to consider. Thank you, Robbie. I bought Micromix. What do you think? Is Micromix a brand? I'm not familiar with it, but I mean, micronutrients are great. I love micronutrients. They're vitamins for the lawn. They're the essentials. Macros are your big meals. Micros are your vitamins. So you need the macros to really be the building blocks, but the micros will complement and help keep everything healthy as that's going. So micronutrients, you can never go. My favorite summer mix is micronutrients with humic acids, okay? And then, of course, or sea kelp and things like that. But when you're using those micros with humic, it's such a great mix because it's not hot. You're not stressing along because that nitrogen in those well, not all the macros, but nitrogen is hot when it releases, and it's so brutal in the sun here. So when you're using micronutrients, you don't have that same effect. And then using the humic acids, it's a great, safe way to get good results with your lawn. But to get the real results, you need a nice thick turf. The macros take your turf from what we're looking at on screen to where it needs to be. But the micros will complement and keep it going once it's thick and healthy. I'm good, Chad. Absolutely fantastic breakdown. Can't thank you enough for taking the time. You are clearly passionate about this, and it shows. Thank you. Can't wait for your product line and with Toy Sport, your merch as well. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, man. I'm glad it's all there. Super. If you can, I have your pictures here. So take pictures and keep sending updates. And what we can do is later on is we can review and write down what you do. +1 for trucker hat. You got to break out the old trucker hats. That'd be funny. Yes, if you drop merch, Chad, I definitely support St. John's local small business. Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It's, I guess, something to do. Our logo is a bird of paradise, so it is quite pretty. So that would be something cool. Massey doesn't use micros in humic. They pump your lawn full of synthetic. Most companies don't. They're stuck in their old ways. They don't want to listen to the new stuff, and that's okay because they're gonna eventually lose in the long run. You have to advance and adapt to what's going on into new things, and if they're not doing that, then they're not going to. That's why my lawn never improved with them. Yeah, and they don't diagnose, like with Massey treating this. And most companies would do the same thing as Massey, and unfortunately, and they just sign people up. Like I said, I would never sign a customer up unless they guaranteed a couple aerations. Not even with me. I tell people I'll do the aeration, and I prefer to do it because I know I'm going to do it right. But I don't care who does it. It needs to be done and needs to be done properly to get the results. I've heard pulling Kalinga and nutsedge by hand is bad. Man, the only thing I can imagine why it's bad is that you can't fully get the roots. Nutsedge seems to be a little more reasonable to pull. Kalinga, I wouldn't even try. I think I'd rather, that'd be like pulling strands out of your hair. I feel like pulling Kalinga sedge. Gosh, that would be a nightmare, pulling it. I just don't think you could fully get the roots. That's the only reason I can imagine pulling it wouldn't be good. Get a sedge control. Sedge Hammer, Pro Sedge. There's products. You have... There's a lot more categories of weeds, but I break weeds down simply into 3 main types. Broadleaf, sedges, and grassy. Grassy, can't treat. Those suck. Sedges, you need a sedge hammer, sedge control, something with sedge in it. And then your broadleaf, most herbicides treat broadleaves. So best thing to do, though, is to spray. Everyone's battling with it. Macros, I mean. Yep, I get what you mean. Yeah, everyone loves the macros. Macros are the old school way. And when I worked for some big companies, and when a customer complained their lawn wasn't green, they told us to put out a bunch of nitrogen to keep the customer happy, when that wasn't at all the right thing to do. They just said so it would look good, but you weren't actually solving a problem. That's like your doctor giving you pain pills when you need surgery and you're never going to get better and you're constantly getting worse, but you don't have pain, so you're happy. That's what using macros are when your lawn has deeper issues like this roots. Yes, do not hand pull Kalinga or sedge. So I'm battling Kalinga with sedge hammer. How will St. Augustine grass handle dismiss herbicide if lower strength? Just be careful with dismiss. I think sedge hammer is fine. I really think sedge hammer is fine. You have to constantly keep treating every 2 weeks. That's the thing. It's consistency. Once you start getting with those products like Dismiss and things like that, it gets a little it can get a little hairy in the heat. But if you got a little bit of experience and you don't mind playing around, having a little bit of fun, get risky. Get that dismiss out and try it. But I would be careful in the heat. I believe consistency over time is the best way to go. Rather than, all right, it's not much, but wanted to show some support. Maybe grab some lunch or a beer on me. Can't wait for more videos. Thanks again so much. Awesome, man. This is, I appreciate it. Listen, it doesn't have to be much at all. Any amount helps. I don't expect it. So thank you so much for donating. I appreciate it. All the money, I really need a new camera for these videos. So all the money is going straight into a savings for a new camera. So I really want to upgrade the quality of it. So thank you so much for that donation. It doesn't have to be much at all. It means the world, and I appreciate it. It's the first time anyone's ever just donated something like to me for lawn advice. This is what I do with my passion, and for anyone to give me something for doing my passion means the world to me. So thank you so much. I was so happy to help you, and also you helped a lot of other people with these examples, listening in, following, and seeing like that. So this was a great experience. I appreciate the $20. It's going to go right back into more videos. I'm, like I said, working on getting a better camera so I can up the quality of the videos. So yes, let's get to the palm tree. All right, so we'll go to the next email submission here. We only had two, so that's why I spent some time on them. On the one here. If left unchecked, will Dollar Weed eventually completely take over St. Augustine? Yeah, over a very long period of time, I guess it will, especially if you keep fertilizing it. But mainly, it only will if thin areas are. If you have thin turf, if your turf is thick and you have dollar weed throughout, you'll be okay with the mix. But the problem is let's say you get chinch bugs fungus and the lawn stresses and the dollar weed doesn't. That's how it slowly takes over time. So I highly recommend doing something with dollar weed. You don't even have to fully eradicate it, but you have to keep it in check. Dollar weeds like a mean older brother. You can't beat him up and finish him, but you can keep slapping him around every now and again and keep him in check. That way he doesn't fully take command. That's what I would think of dollar weed as. I've had good results with Halo Select, Sedgehammer Generic. Oh, I've never heard of the Halo. With no adverse effect on my St. Augustine. Visible results, browning, seizure, growing after 5 days. Yeah, I would try Halo Select. I've never used it. Sedgehammer Generic. It sounds good to me. It's just being consistent and no adverse effect on St. Augustine. It's what's important. So we'll go on to the palm tree. Wrote you on YouTube about my palm for your love feed. Okay, I did it right. It's a farm-raised Sylvester planted in Palm Coast, Florida, exactly 1 month ago. I know transplant shock is inevitable, and my installer ensures me it will be fine. I just wanted your expert opinion along with my care tips and help along. I've been watering to keep it moist with using moisture meter. Very good. I have just about every lawn and tree supplement you can think of on hand if needed. Thanks again. I'm a huge fan of your channel. Thank you so much for writing in. I really appreciate it. So when you get a palm tree, the palm tree guys will usually tell you, but absolutely keep it wet. Palm trees need a lot of water when being transplanted. Sorry, my cat's up there shaking the camera. So let's look at this palm tree. Okay, sorry, can't tell it there. This is a great thing around all trees. You don't have to use the rock. The rock's cool, but you need to keep mulch away from your plants. Number one reason plants die in the state of Florida is from being planted too deep. And sometimes they're not planted too deep. People just love mulching around the base. And what you do is you choke it out and it rots. These top roots need oxygen. So whether it's just planted or it's older, this is what you need to I call it volcanoing. You need to volcano all your plants, especially major trees and when you get an expensive palm tree. So this is the right move to make. It should stay this way. This is the way to go. Here's a picture. Oh, this Vester is beautiful. So this is 1 month transplanted. This thing is in gorgeous shape and will do absolutely okay. This is no scare, no harm at all. These things go through shock. Beautiful yards all on the street, by the way. Very nice. But there's going to be no issue or concern one bit. It's got its outer shock. It looks like some of the not the newest growth, but some of the outer ones are doing okay. But green new growth on the inside. 1 month shock. Very, very normal. Totally okay. But now, see, all this is fine. And you're just going to let it be. It's going to look ugly for a little bit, but that's what you need to do with these palm trees. So leave it, water it like crazy for 3 to 4 months. Keep it soaked. This year hasn't been a problem. It's been so wet. But if it gets a little drier, everything on there is, if it gets a little drier, you've got to keep that thing moist. So now about 3 months after this thing is transplanted, notice the lawn. Yeah, absolutely notice the lawn. In great shape. So after this is transplanted 3 months, what you're going to want to do is use a palm fertilizer. Theodore, $5. No, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Like I said, to get paid to talk about my passion is a dream come true. So I'm more thankful than ever. More money towards a new camera. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. This is really exciting. It gives me a lot of energy to keep doing this type of stuff with the support like this. This is more than I could have ever thought of. So thank you beyond it. But what you're going to want to do is 3 months after is you're going to need to use palm fertilizer. Palm fertilizer is very important because they get their color from magnesium and manganese. So most plants feed off of iron and nitrogen. Palms are totally different. So that's why getting an actual palm fertilizer is a very big deal and does make a big difference. Because what you're going to want to do now is 3 months is give it that round of palm fertilizer. Make sure it has magnesium, manganese, calcium, and boron. Those are the main things. Those are the main ingredients to keeping a nice, green, healthy palm tree. That's extremely, extremely important. Now, University of Florida, here, anyone who has a palm tree, you might want to write this down here. The University of Florida recommends 18 pounds of fertilizer per year per palm, broken down into 3 applications of 6. 3 applications of 6 pounds. This is awesome. Love helping such a great Robbie, 20. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Wow, it's truly amazing. Never on here would I think I would get $45 towards a new camera tonight. Gosh, I seriously couldn't be more grateful for you guys donating. Nobody has to do it. You guys are doing this out of the goodness of your heart and, like you said, supporting a local business. It means the world. I never thought I'd be on here talking about lawns and getting the love and support. Man, thank you so much. I'm really kind of in shock. Makes me a little sweaty, to be honest. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. But so 18 pounds of fertilizer per palm per year, 3 applications, 6 pounds each time. Now, what you're going to want to do too, so I see a lot of people love to do not dump your fertilizer all in here. Don't you dare dump 6 pounds of fertilizer in your volcano. Okay? That's how you make the volcano erupt. No, but you can do some damage to the roots from the nitrogen in there and all that fertilizer releasing in a small spot. So what you're going to do is a hand spreader. I call them whirly-birds, whatever. But you get a hand spreader. And actually, here's a really cool tip. The Scott's hand spreaders, I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. They're green. You hold them in your hand, and they have the spinner on your side. To the top is actually 6 pounds of fertilizer. I weighed it out because we do this as a service. So you fill that to the top, and then you put it out. And what you do there is just, that way you're not dumping it all in one spot. Just sit and walk around the tree in a circle and spread it from about halfway from the foliage. So whenever the foliage is going, you want to find the halfway point on the foliage. Now, other trees are different, but we're talking about palms. Other trees are different. So go halfway from the foliage to the root is where you want to put all the fertilizer. Hand spreader, 6 pounds, filled to the top, circle in a tree. Battery operated. And then when you're battery operated, you're holding it like this. I got those too, so we're a little fancy. We're grateful you're sharing your knowledge with us. Man, no problem. I love sharing my knowledge. So this is it's a win-win. It's huge for me, and thank you. So apply it from the trunk to halfway out to the foliage, as even as you can, all around is the best way to fertilize these. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna check if anybody has any other questions or anything. I'm probably gonna run out of voice soon, and I got some dinner to eat. So I'm gonna see if anybody has any last questions about your lawn or anything. And if you enjoyed this and you have something about your lawn, please send me pictures and things to my email. The email's turforganics904@gmail.com. I have it on my YouTube channel in places. I don't know where, in descriptions and things. I try to put as much, but send me emails and pictures, and every Wednesday at 8, I'm going to go live and go over it. That way, you can get your direct, you can get exactly your direct issue talked about, and you can ask questions, and we can go over this live, and other people can learn. It's really cool. Thanks for educating the public. Best to you. I'll be in touch about co-aeration. Thank you for the $5. Wow. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, Robbie, it's going to be a weekly thing every Wednesday at 8. And if it picks up, which I really hope it does, I really like this interacting. This is so cool. I'll add more days. Seriously. Nothing better than my night than sitting on here doing with this. And like I said, the fact that you guys are donating means the world to me. Seriously, helps me so much. I'm so excited to use this money to bring you better content. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. But I love doing this, and interacting and doing things like this is the best. So I'll probably sit on here for about 4 more minutes. If anyone has any more questions. If not, please send me pictures and questions. Can we send some pictures and questions next week? Yeah, please. From after I get off of here all the way through next week, send me emails and pictures, and then I'll reply back to you. I'll ask maybe, just like I did with the first one with Supra. I asked him for more pictures and things. So he gave me a great long write out of what was going on. He said, sorry, this was long, but that was okay. We needed this long information. So that was great. So long information, pictures, and that way I'll reply, ask you for more pictures, more details, and I'll let you know if it's being featured or not, which it probably will. But I'll let you know, so that way you know that next Wednesday that we're going to go over your email submission. And again, and just to let everyone clear, I don't know if everyone's watching this, it is totally free. People are donating out of the kindness of their hearts, and I appreciate it more than anything, but it's not expected, and it doesn't have to be done. It's just awesome. Rollers chipping in for the camera fund. Awesome. Thank you so much. $2, I don't care what it is. Everything helps. I'm so excited to bring more content. I've been filming a lot inside. My next video I'm going to film is definitely going to be back outside in the field. I love doing the outside videos and things, and I have some great ideas and things coming up. Just been really busy and trying to find the time. So thank you. Roll the R's. Thank you so much for the camera fund. I appreciate it more than anything. And like I said, if anybody has any submissions, like I said, I'll be on here about 2 more minutes. So if anyone has any questions or anything, please feel free to ask away. Like I said, if you have pictures and things, email them to me. More than happy to go over, help, or anything like that. Or if you have a good-looking lawn and you've done some of your own stuff, send me some pictures, before and after pictures of what you did and things, and we'll go over, before and after pictures, and then the products that you use and the results that you got, because that would be really great to do for people to know. So that'd be really cool information. But this has been amazing. I'm going to be on here for about one more minute, and I just want to thank everybody, especially people who donated. You guys did that out of the kindness of your hearts, and it means the world to me. It makes me know that I'm doing the right things and I'm going in the right direction with making these videos and helping online. I really couldn't be happy. Should we just donate directly in the future so YouTube doesn't take half the money? LOL. Yeah, I put a PayPal thing. I really don't know how this works. I'll be honest. I didn't expect anybody would give me money. So I'll look into that. Maybe I put a PayPal link because somebody, when I was doing a test video, asked. So I put a PayPal link on my YouTube. I don't know exactly how that works or how much it goes out. But I'm going to look into it over the week and do some research over the weekend and see what's going on. What can you share about starting and running your own lawn care service? Spraying or mowing? That would be a good question. Are you talking about doing the spraying or doing the mowing? How often is too often to aerate? Max is twice a year. Spring and fall, that's maxed out. If your lawn's looking good, every 2 to 3 years is fine. If you can afford it or you have the equipment to do it once a year, do it once a year. That'd be awesome. But no more than twice a year. Probably do too much stress. Spraying. Okay, so what's the best products to use for nut sedge treatment? I like Sedge Hammer. But there was, what was this? Hold on. I think there was a product that was recommended called Halo. Halo Select. It's a generic of Sedge Hammer. Said that they were getting very good browning and seizing of growth and no adverse effect on their St. Augustine. So it's called Halo Select. And Leon is the one that recommended that. So that was a good one to do. Spraying. So I would try those, but I had pretty good results with all of them. Like I said, the main thing I've seen with doing sedge is being consistent. Yeah, it was Halo Select. Yeah, being consistent is treating it every 2 weeks and keeping it under control and not letting it spread. So spraying. My biggest recommendation for starting a spraying business is knowing your products. To be honest, and being honest and doing the right thing. Having the proper equipment, knowing your products, and being honest with customers. That honestly has always been the best policy because like most people and a lot of people said, like when we talked about Massey doing crappy aeration, like there was 3 replies from 3 separate people that all said the same thing. So they might have got that business during, but they might have got that business in the short term, but it didn't last long for Massey. So it's like I said, if I rolled up to a lawn like this, I would not sign this customer up without doing an aeration, and I would break out the roots and show them. It's all about, like I said, doing and having a good program. So you have to have a really good program, because like I said, knowing the products, and then it's not selling like. I think the best way to be a salesman is not to be a salesman at all. Just to be honest, I don't sell anybody on anything. I educate them, and then they make the educated decision whether they want to. I educate them on what's going on in their lawn, what our service can do for them, and then they make the decision if my price is worth the results I told them. Don't overpromise and underdeliver. Always be honest with people. I usually tell people, when I think something will take 4 months, I tell them 6, because we could have a heat wave, we could have a lot of rain, so that way they're thinking 6 months, and they might go, 6 months is a long time, I don't want to wait for that. And I'm saying, hey, honestly, that's just what I think it might take. And if it recovers quicker, then you look good. If it doesn't, but I see a lot of companies, they'll sign up somebody like this and go, oh, we'll make your lawn green, it'll look good, and then it doesn't, and then they're pissed. So that's what I think is one of the most important things about, and of course knowing your numbers, but I think that's in any business. Don't forget surfactant if you buy straight Halo Flution. Yes. Very rarely does herbicides come with surfactants in them, but Surfactants are key. We use surfactants in everything. And what if you don't know what a surfactant is? It's a sticking agent. So you can think of when you put water on something. Water can on some products, on some textures, they go into a bunch of little droplets. So like dollar weed, great example. Dollar weed's a very waxy weed. So when you hit it with a liquid, and it does this on purpose, it's that's its defense, is the droplets don't coat it. They stay on top and they stay in little drops. So when that herbicide's drying, it didn't get over the whole dollar leaf weed. It only stayed in little droplets, and the effects can be slower and not work as well. What a surfactant does, it's a sticking agent or a wetting agent, some people call them, but same thing, I guess. But what that does is when it hits that waxy coating, it'll coat the whole dollar weed. It won't allow it to stay in those little droplets. So you'll get better results, and you'll get a better coverage over it. That would be the best way to say it. So surfactants are key to pretty much everything, but there's very rare products like Blindside and things. Read your labels of products. Very important. Labels are boring, they're long, and they suck, but they can save you a lot of money for making a mistake. So read the label. If the product has surfactant in it, it'll tell you some form or way. It'll say don't add surfactant, has surfactant. If that's already on there, then don't worry about it, but that is rare. That's not very common that a product will have it. So have a good night, y'all. Yep, you do the same. I'm probably gonna do the same. I love answering questions, so if anyone has any more questions, feel free to ask. If not, I'm gonna go ahead and eat some dinner. So I am a bit hungry. And again, everyone who donated on here means the world to me. Seriously, never thought anything like this would ever happen. That's why I didn't set up donations, and I guess YouTube's taking half of it, which that's not cool. YouTube. They gave me the platform though, so beggars can't be choosers. But everyone who donated, thank you so much. I more appreciate it. I would never expect I could sit here and talk about what I love, and people would appreciate it so much to feel that they would donate to me. Thank you. Seriously, means the world. Some people use baby shampoo as a surfactant. Is that a viable solution, or do you recommend a surfactant product? If you're doing an organic home mix, you can use baby shampoo. I don't personally know if it works or not. But if you're going to spend the money on a product, a selective herbicide, spend the money to get the surfactant. That way you know you're getting your value's worth out of the product, because those selective herbicides aren't cheap, and I want to make sure you get the best bang for your buck. Robbie, thanks again, bro. You did awesome. Thank you so much. This was my first real live stream, so I'm glad people enjoyed it, and I did a good job. And I'm so excited for next week and to keep doing this, because I'm only going to get better and better, and I can answer more and more questions for you, and we're all going to learn more. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to log off. I appreciate it. Yes, no problem. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. I'm going to post more videos. Feel free to email, to like, subscribe, all the stuff people on YouTube say. I just want to say thank you.